All right, good morning, everybody. Jeremy and Joe, happy Tuesday. Rained out there a little bit, going to rain a little more throughout the day. Cooler temperatures as well. And tonight, the start of the NHL season, the Sabres have their home opener Thursday night at KeyBank Center against the Rangers. And we welcome in once again for a generally a weekly appearance throughout the season as hockey season's upon us. Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff joins us on the Western Hotline. Lindy, good morning. Welcome back.
Morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
We're doing all right.
Good
Are you excited to have hockey back in general? And do you wish that you guys had a game tonight, like to open up the season with the first slate of games? Or are you happy to kind of get a night to just sit back and maybe watch some hockey?
Well, I think where we're at, even a couple more days could make a difference for us with several players. So I'm actually happy that we get an extra couple days just for body purposes.
Yeah. Let's get to some of those injuries because there's significant injuries. In goal, UPL, he left the preseason game. What's the latest on Luukkonen right now?
Feeling better, but won't be involved in our practices yet. We'll see how today goes, but he had a good day yesterday and just keep progressing.
And on the blue line, Kesselring, Power, Samuelsson, you're kind of patching things together back there?
Yeah, if you look at it, Samuelsson joined us yesterday in a non-contact sense. He'll be. It looks like he'll be back. Power should join us for practice today, so he's starting to feel real good. I wouldn't even rule him out for Thursday, so that's good news. Kesselring looks like he's just a little bit longer, but he's feeling better too.
Is there anybody else, Greenway maybe at this point, that you would think definitely not for Thursday?
Yeah, Greenway definitely not. He's just coming off, the surgery he had in late July. So it probably looks like he's be a little bit more time. He's been skating, but isn't quite there yet.
With regard to Kesselring, Lindy, this is a new player. You guys acquire him via trade. And as we get set to start this season and see how this team is going to be built differently, look different, how does he change what you can do on the blue line? Where does he, kind of fit into the group? And how do you feel like it'll ultimately lead to better results?
Well, look at, you've got a big man that's a right-handed defenseman that moves the puck well, skates really well. Had really liked this camp and had liked what he had done in the preseason. But I think you're looking at a guy that I thought even playing with Power could really give us a 3-4 pair that could be really strong for us. So I don't think it's going to be real long. I think we know what we got. We got a big guy that can play physical. It shoots the puck really well. So just got to get him back in.
Yeah. What does he do for Power specifically if they are to play together a lot this year? I remember talking a lot with you last year about Power and getting better at shutting plays down. Does he free up Power maybe, though, to do more offensively with the puck, be more aggressive? Do you think Power plays any different if him and Kesselring can really build chemistry?
It's a great question. I think we need consistency, out of our play in the back end. We need consistency out of Owen Power in defensive play. And Kesselring is in the same category. I think from a puck-moving sense, when you got a lefty-righty, moving pucks inside the offensive zone when pucks go low to high is a lot easier. I think the transition game, again, when you're not playing that offside, there are times where that part of the game is better. I think they can complement each other. But just looking for, two guys that can get accustomed to playing with each other and building from there.
The blue line in general, I think, kind of leads this. That the theme of the offseason, Lindy, seemed to be getting better defensively, keeping pucks out of your own net. Some moves on the forward group do that too. I guess, how equipped do you feel like you are at the beginning of the season with these injuries to be that team right away that is an improved unit at keeping pucks out of your own end in your own zone and shutting plays down?
Well, I think we've been better for sure. I guess the one area that still hurt us is, even as recent as last game, is a couple special teams goals that got by us. Just trying to be a lot more consistent team away from the puck, which I thought we saw some really good stuff in the first couple of games. If you look at the 6 games overall, I thought 4 of them, we kept high percentage chances down and still played a good brand of offensive hockey. Last game, I thought 45 minutes might have played our best game in camp with, a lot of our defensemen out against a pretty strong Pittsburgh team and gave up those 2 special teams goals that hurt us in the third period. So I think we're in a better place. I think we understand that we have to be a better defensive team. We have to cut the goals against down. And that's a team project. That it's not just defensemen, that's forwards tracking hard, not giving up situations that lead to our defensemen facing odd-numbered rushes and stuff like that.
On special teams, Lindy, last year it's 24th on the power play, 23rd on the penalty kill. How much of what you think you need to do to kind of finish the job to get this team into a playoff spot is correcting things on the special teams?
Yeah, I think that's a big part. Special teams is going to be a big part of and I looked at the last, really looked hard at the last 50 games when we got into a lot better place, especially with the power play. Power play, I think in the last 50 games was around 22%. I think we've come out of camp with the power play around 24%. I think the guy that it really intrigues me that we didn't have last year that can help us in both categories is Norris. Norris, good power play guy, and we really feel that he can be a top penalty killer for us. He's got length, he can skate, he's good on draws. You win a face-off penalty killing, you're probably killed off 20-plus seconds. So it's a guy that I think can help us in both categories that we didn't have last year.
How about him overall as a fit? Lindy, Sabres fans would, of course, remember the trade he's brought in last year, the Dylan Cousins trade. And Norris doesn't really play that much. I would joke to Joe in the offseason, like, remember Josh Norris? Like, he is on this team. So I almost feel like every time we start to talk about him, we have to remember what kind of player he is. So how does he fit in? And, there's the face-off stuff you're mentioning on penalty kill and power play, stuff like that. But what has he done? What does he fit in with Tage Thompson, with this group of forwards as you're looking to, get everything you can out of his game?
Yeah, I think you're looking at a guy that's a dynamic skater. We saw that in the preseason. I think the chemistry with him and Tomer, has been good. Point-wise, he had a nice preseason. Both Thompson and himself. And I think he's just, kind of touching the tip of the iceberg because it was his first full summer he's been able to train that he wasn't dealing with injuries. He got himself into, fantastic condition. I think we've seen that in the way he skated, a couple of the goals he scored, and the pace he plays at. So, it was a guy we didn't get to see much of late last year, and now we're getting him on a daily basis, and I think he's going to be a big part of our club.
Those two playing together a lot throughout the preseason. Zach Benson had a bit of an injury throughout, but he was with them as well. What have you liked about Benson that has you putting him on the top line kind of to start the year here?
Well, when you look at where we finished last year, and Benson and Kulik were playing with Thompson, and I thought Benson is great below the goal line, hanging on to pucks and making plays, and saw that again in the preseason. I think Benson's skating is even better. His tenacity, though, on the puck, I think is a good compliment for those guys. A guy that is tough to corral down low, so he can find Norris or find Thompson. And I think he's a guy that Tomer likes playing with him. I think that you find guys that kind of work off each other, and we think we found a guy that can fit in nicely. So he'll be back. He was at practice yesterday. It looks like he'll be able to play Thursday. So it'll be good to have him back too.
Yeah, I know you got this question when the team showed up to camp about, like, will this team be able to score goals and who might replace the production that J.J. Peterka's had the last couple of years. And looking at the lineup right now, I would figure that, Benson would be on this list, but him, Yuri Kulik, like some of these young guys you would be expecting to take a step from last year to this year?
For sure. I think you look at the two guys you mentioned, Cooley, had a year that I thought the second half of the year really established himself as a strong centerman and a guy that can score goals. So he's got unbelievable shot. I think another guy that, I think he scored 15 or 16 last year was Quinn. That we think there's still upside to his game. So when you're looking at our lineup and you put Norris in there and what he can do, and then a couple of our younger guys, we're hoping that these guys can continue to be better players for us. I think we've seen some of that in the preseason. It hasn't been that we haven't been able to score. I think the last game in Pittsburgh, Kalik got a couple. Yeah, I think another guy that kind of intrigues me that just starting to get comfortable with his zone. He's around the net. He's getting some good opportunities. I think we can easily get some goals from him that can help replace some of the goals that went out.
Lindy, on the season at large and kind of looking for the finish line that you're trying to get to, have you set with the team monthly goals? Is it weekly? I mean, at the end of last season, it was out of every 10 games, you'd shoot for this. How have you decided to keep the big picture in picture, but also in the moment?
Well, just the realization that, if you go 3-2 and 3-2, and if you're looking at a 5-game segment and you get 6 points every 5 games, you're going to be a playoff team. The thing we're trying to hammer home is, our defensive play has to be consistent. You've got to be consistent from night to night. I think if we're consistent with that, and just you don't spend too many times or too much time laboring on a tough loss, whether you've been beat by a goaltender or maybe it's a special teams night, you didn't get it done. But if you look at trying to get that 6 or 7 points a 5-game segment, it'll put you in position where you get to be in the playoffs.
Sabres head coach Lindy Ruff. It'll be Thursday night, KeyBank Center, Sabres and Rangers.
And lastly, Lindy, on the goaltending, we talked about the Luukkonen injury right now. How imperative is it for that plan, being better defensively, going on stretches like that, to get saves this year? And how do you feel about the current trio? The team claims Colton Ellis yesterday. I don't know how much you know about him. You have experience with Alex Georgiev, Lions, the signing in the offseason. So how do you feel about your goalie room going into the year right now?
Well, again, it's the fact that we have UPL hurt right now. I thought the period that he played, he looked really good inside that. I think there's two things that go hand in hand here, Jeremy, is the fact that if we're better defensively and we're giving up less of the high-quality opportunities, it should be better for our goaltenders. And so those two things go hand in hand. And then I thought in probably 4 of the 6 games, I thought we did a pretty good job. We had maybe had lighter lineup in the Detroit game that put us in a little bit of chaos. But I think that that group of defense and forwards that are playing in front of our goaltenders have to be better on a nightly basis.
Lindy Ruff on the Western Hotline. Lindy, thanks. We'll chat next week, and best of luck to open the season.
Thanks, gentlemen. Looking forward to it.
Sabres and Rangers Thursday at KeyBank Center. The Sabres also announced, for those of you going to these games, some food options. And, Joe, they're bringing us some food options to talk about more tomorrow.